Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a really deep cut into the operating system that runs your entire life.
Your habits, your routines.
Exactly, your structure. And here's the problem we are, diagnosing right out of the gate. Why do ambitious people start so strong, they feel energized, but then they just consistently fail to maintain any kind of momentum?
It's the classic cycle, isn't it?
It is. We all know it. You set this huge goal. You want to scale the business. You want to get into the best shape of your life.
Financial independence, that's a big one.
A huge one. And for like 2 weeks, you're just riding this massive rush of motivation. But then inevitably, life happens. The energy just evaporates.
The stress hit.
And you find yourself right back at zero, completely exhausted and feeling like you just wasted a massive amount of effort.
Right.
It really forces the question, are most of us, especially the high-achieving people listening right now, are we actually operating at, say, 50% capacity?
And just relying on this hype that can't possibly last.
Yes. Yeah. Without ever addressing the true bottleneck. And the bottleneck isn't ambition, it's structure.
That is the perfect diagnostic question. Because if we are being honest with ourselves, many people treat success like a lottery ticket.
A lottery ticket, house.
You plan, you hope, and then you fail when the pressure gets too high.
Right.
Our mission in this deep dive is to move past that.
Sure.
We're going to focus relentlessly on systems, not motivation.
Okay.
Motivation it's a fluctuating emotional state. Systems are the reliable, leveraged daily actions that run on structure.
Not on your mood.
Not on your mood, not on your sleep quality, not on positive thinking.
That's a huge distinction.
Goals are seductive, they sound great, they give you that initial, dopamine hit of aspiration.
For sure.
But they are completely powerless when you're tired or overwhelmed.
Right.
Think of it this way. A goal is just a statement about a potential future. It's a wish.
Okay.
A system, however, is proof. It's proof of your current commitment. It's what holds you up when life gets messy.
So it's the difference between wishing and doing.
And what's fascinating here is that the people who achieve the most, they aren't necessarily the most motivated. They're just the people who have architected their life to make progress the path of least resistance.
Okay, let's unpack that core friction point then. We meticulously write down the goals, the declaration of intent. We visualize the destination. But why do these powerful declarations consistently collapse under just the normal stress and exhaustion of daily life? Why are they so brittle?
It comes down to what we call the identity gap. This is the core reason people get stuck.
The identity gap. Okay, break that down for me.
Most people are attempting to exist simultaneously in two different, deeply conflicting worlds.
Two worlds.
Yeah. One world is purely aspirational. It's their imagination, the future self they want to be, the life they dream of having.
Got it. The vision board life.
The vision board life, exactly. And the second world is their habits, the routines, the default actions, the established patterns where they actually live every single day. The tension, the psychological tax, is paid precisely when these two worlds don't align.
So if you want to be a financially disciplined investor,
but your daily routines prioritize impulse buying and, avoiding spreadsheets, that mental dissonance is exhausting.
I can feel that.
Or if you aspire to be a high-output creator, but your daily schedule defaults to consuming content and mindless scrolling.
That gap.
That gap frustrates your subconscious. You feel stuck not because you lack desire, but because you've built routines that support the wrong identity.
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it.
Change doesn't come from wanting a new life. It comes from executing new behavior. You need to stop relying on willpower to jump the gap and start closing it with better patterns.
So all that energy we spend trying to force ourselves to adhere to a goal, that's just the tax of the identity gap.
That's it.
We're asking our current habits to deliver a future that they're actively resisting.
Yes.
That completely reframes failure. It's not that I failed. It's that my routines failed the identity I was trying to step into.
Exactly. And the key insight here is that growth isn't about setting goals and then waiting for some magic flash of motivation.
Right.
It's about architecting a daily life that reflects your values through consistent behavior.
The behavior.
The fundamental mistake we see high achievers make is confusing a grand, overwhelming declaration, the goal, with the power of small, compounding daily decisions.
Which is the system.
That is the system. A goal says, I want to be a published author. That's outcome focused.
Okay.
A system says, I maintain a disciplined writing block from 7:00 a.m. to 8:00 a.m. every single day, no exceptions. The latter creates the outcome predictably.
While the former relies on luck and mood.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The person who builds the system doesn't have to hope their ambition will carry them. They make sure their structure does. It's about designing an environment where success is the default setting.
I hear that. If I want a better life, I need to audit my daily proof points. Am I proving I deserve this outcome through my behavior, or am I just blocking it with my defaults?
That's the question.
That transition brings us perfectly into phase 2, actually designing this operating system. So let's start with the alignment design, making sure every single repetition is pointed toward the person we want to become.
Okay, so step A, the insight. Action alignment. This is the absolute starting point. Choosing actions that actually line up with the person you intend to become.
Foundational.
It is, because we often obsess over the intensity of the action. How fast can I run? How many hours can I hustle?
Yeah, the metrics.
But the real strategic leverage comes from direction. If your consistent actions are pointed toward comfort, convenience, and consumption, you will never, ever arrive at the destination of discipline, health, or wealth.
Regardless of how hard you try sometimes.
Exactly. Your daily choices tell a far more honest, quiet story about your values than your loudest goals ever will.
I see this so often, people majoring in minor things. They spend an hour perfecting the color coding on their task list.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of spending just 15 minutes on the hardest, highest ROI task.
Yeah.
Feels like productivity, but it's really just misdirection.
It's a form of hiding.
So if alignment is direction, you don't need some massive, complex plan. You just need to ensure your next move is pointing true north.
Precisely. Which brings us to step B, the system application, the daily proof protocol.
Okay.
To make this concrete and measurable, we implement a morning audit, and it's focused on time and energy, ROI, return on investment.
ROI on your energy. I like that.
What you do in the first hour of your day is the clearest indicator of your commitment. Is your first hour reactive, dictated by checking emails and social media?
Or is it purpose-built?
Right. You have to aggressively reclaim that initial energy. Is your energy going towards distraction, comparison, or just unnecessary stress? Or is it deliberately channeled towards actions that align with your highest priorities?
Like quiet planning, deep work, learning, movement.
Exactly. That focused first hour generates massive leverage for the entire day.
I love that name, the Daily Proof Protocol. It sounds like an internal commitment contract you sign with yourself every morning.
It is.
But let's hit step C, the friction. Pragmatism versus ideals. The purposeful morning is a classic piece of advice, but for a busy professional, reality hits hard. Kids, an early commute, immediate high-stakes emails from overseas teams. The first hour is often dictated by external chaos, demanding an immediate reaction.
It feels like it is.
So how do you implement a purpose-built morning when the external world is just screaming for attention and your immediate response? It feels like the system is immediately destroyed by reality.
That is the most common blockage, and it's a brilliant question because it feels so true.
Yeah.
The answer lies in step D, the unlock, the next right thing. The trap is trying to control the uncontrollable chaos outside your window.
Which you can't do.
You can't. The key is shifting your focus from controlling the outcome, the perfect day, to controlling the process. The next single step.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. You don't try to solve all the external chaos at once. You focus on starting small but perfectly aligned.
Okay, give me an example.
For example, if you want peace, and you know the morning chaos starts at 7 a.m., you don't need a 2-hour routine. You need 5 minutes of control at 6:55 a.m.
5 minutes.
Maybe you just stop reaching for your phone first thing, and you simply sit quietly for 120 seconds. That's it.
Wow.
If you want strength, you stop waiting to feel motivated, and you just put on your workout clothes. That minimal aligned action breaks the initial inertia.
And the moment you start, the system carries you forward.
It does. Alignment means accepting that you can't do everything, but you can always make the next decision count.
So we have the direction right, but now we face the next critical point, sustainability.
Right.
Because even if we align our actions, if this new system feels like a massive chore or like a punishment, we'll quickly burn out and crash right back to zero.
Step A, the insight, the punishment trap. This is where 90% of transformation efforts just collapse.
90%, that's huge.
The human mind is wired to conserve energy and seek comfort. If a new habit feels forced, unnatural, or like it's taking something vital away from your life, that's the punishment trap.
And your brain just rebels.
Your brain builds immediate massive resistance, and this resistance, it manifests as procrastination, avoidance, resentment, and eventual burnout. A high-leverage system has to be designed to feel like you are giving something valuable to your life. Self-respect, peace, future security, not extracting willpower constantly.
I've been there, trying to force a habit because it works for some productivity guru, only to find that I hate the process.
We all have.
And it makes me a worse partner, a worse employee, because I'm just constantly fighting myself. It's the opposite of sustainable leverage.
And that leads directly to step B, the system application. The fit, check, design, and anchors.
Fit, check, design, okay.
We have to abandon this idea of copying someone else's discipline blueprint, whether it's the celebrity 4:30 a.m. routine or the 50-page daily journal.
So no copy pasting.
No. Start not with ambition, but with radical self-awareness. What do you already do every single day without fail?
Okay.
That existing effortless routine is your starting point. These are your anchors.
My anchors, so like my morning coffee.
Your morning coffee is a perfect anchor. If you drink a protein shake after the gym, that's an anchor. If you check email right after lunch, that's an anchor.
Got it.
You use those existing routines to attach a new, meaningful behavior. For example, if you have a 30-minute commute, which is an anchor, attach 15 minutes of a dedicated audio learning or reflection time to it.
So you're not adding a new behavior, you're leveraging an existing energy channel.
Exactly. You observe your own flow, and you integrate the new system into the path of least resistance. The goal is to create a pattern that pulls you forward, rather than one you're constantly pushing against.
This is a major strategic difference. You're saying we should customize the system to our own energy flows, not the other way around.
Yes.
But here's step C, the friction, the growth conundrum. The issue is that the highest ROI activities, like deep work, learning a complex skill, disciplined investing, intense physical training, they inherently require a degree of discomfort.
They do.
They require skill acquisition or focused energy that feels unnatural at first. They are hard. So how do you integrate a pattern that requires this necessary acute discomfort without it feeling like punishment? If that initial activation energy is high, how do we stop the mind from just triggering the avoidance response?
That tension is vital to address. And the mistake is equating discomfort with punishment. They're not the same thing.
Okay.
The unlock here is step D, the unlock, emotional alignment. We have to redefine natural. Natural doesn't mean effortless, it means aligned and sustainable.
Aligned and sustainable.
Necessary discomfort, the mental stretch of deep work, the physical burn of a heavy lift, that should be interpreted by the brain not as punishment, but as proof of value.
An investment?
It's an investment. When that discomfort is directly tied to your deepest values, I am becoming financially free. I am securing a high-quality mind. That effort, though uncomfortable, stops feeling like a chore.
And it starts feeling like self-respect.
It starts feeling like self-respect and integrity. It's the cost of admission to the next level of your life. The temporary discomfort generates long-term rhythm, and that rhythm is where we find leverage that willpower can never match.
So if a system isn't sustainable,
Then it is, by definition, not useful.
that rhythm is so critical, but it gets shredded so quickly when the mind is constantly taxed. We focus so much on scheduling time and managing energy, but we rarely talk about managing mental bandwidth.
It's the most fragile resource.
Let's dive into protecting that.
Step A, the insight. Decision fatigue. This is the hidden energy thief of the ambitious person.
I feel this one.
We live in a world that offers infinite trivial choices. When the brain is constantly overloaded by low-level, high-frequency decision-making, what to wear, should I have the salad or the sandwich, what email should I open first?
It's exhausting.
It depletes the executive function. This leads to exhaustion, anxiety, and catastrophic overthinking, which steals the mental capacity needed for the hardest, most strategic work.
So by the time you sit down for your high RO task at 2 p.m.
Your decision fuel tank is already on empty.
Wow.
And studies show that the same neural resources used to decide where to eat lunch are needed to negotiate a major business deal.
No way.
We treat them as equal, and our performance suffers as a result. An overwhelmed mind needs less chaos, not more motivation.
I relate to this so deeply. I've often hit a mental wall mid-afternoon thinking I'm just tired, when in reality, I've made like 80 unnecessary choices since waking up.
Exactly.
The brain is tired from just scrambling to catch up,
Yeah.
truly because the day lacked any kind of automated structure.
Which brings us to step B, the system application, the daily focus decoupling. The goal is to build automated systems that reduce the sheer volume of daily decisions to intentionally offload the trivial choices.
Okay, what are the strategies?
We use two primary strategies here. First, decide in advance. Plan your meals for the week. Choose your top 3 tasks the night before, or adopt a professional uniform to eliminate choice entirely.
Right, like CEOs wearing the same thing every day.
That's why they do it. It conserves cognitive energy for decisions that actually matter.
And the second strategy.
Second, time blocking or batching. Now, this isn't about rigid scheduling, it's about giving your mind clarity. Schedule specific times for specific tasks.
So batching all your emails into 2 30-minute blocks.
Instead of constantly reacting.
Yeah.
Exactly. This allows the brain to switch into manager mode reactive communication or maker mode deep creative focus effectively.
Rather than being in a constant draining state of low-level alert.
That's the key.
Wait, okay. Step C, the friction, the urge to control. This feels counterintuitive to the core drive of an ambitious person.
How so?
Well, we are taught that being masters of our destiny means being nimble, seizing opportunities, and making smart choices constantly. But this system suggests we should reduce the number of choices we make.
I see the conflict.
Doesn't letting go of that spontaneous, in-the-moment decision-making, doesn't it feel like we are becoming rigid or losing the ability to pivot? Doesn't that feel like losing control?
It's the paradox of leverage. You're absolutely right that ambition craves control, but people confuse constant choice with genuine control.
Okay.
Step D, the unlock. Freedom through structure, the reset protocol. Real freedom isn't found in chaos. It comes from knowing exactly what high leverage actions need to happen because you intentionally decided it yesterday when your mind was fresh.
Ah, so it's a different kind of control.
It's a higher level of control. Control comes not from reacting to the future, but from being fully present and focused today.
So you free up your mind to handle the unforeseen high-stakes decisions.
By automating the routine ones. The key application here is the structured evening reset. This is mandatory.
Tell me about that.
Spend 10 to 15 minutes before winding down, writing out any open thought loops, organizing your primary workspace, and deciding on the single most important task for the next day.
So you're clearing the cognitive RAM.
You are clearing the cognitive RAM of your brain, protecting your mental bandwidth for the morning. The system holds the routine white so you can focus your high-level energy on strategy.
That evening reset gives us a clear runway, but we still have to get up the next morning and face the monster resistance, that nagging internal voice that says, I just don't feel like doing this today.
Step A, the insight, the illusion of motivation. This is arguably the most destructive belief for high achievers.
The idea that you have to feel it to do it.
Exactly. Feelings are the most unreliable data source we have. They fluctuate based on biochemistry, external events, minor sleep changes.
Everything.
Waiting to feel right is the most dangerous habit because it trains your brain to surrender control to volatile emotions.
So true.
Results are never a function of desire. They are a side effect of behavior change. You will inevitably fall to the level of your default repetitions, not your highest intentions.
Wow, say that again. You fall to the level of your default repetitions.
We have to recognize that discipline is simply acting in a way that honors your long-term values, regardless of your current emotional state.
And the feeling of motivation comes after the action.
Usually, yes. It's generated after the action has begun, not before.
So if the feeling won't carry us, we need a tactical way to just bypass the emotional gatekeeper entirely and initiate movement.
Step B, the system application, the action first loop. You must act your way through resistance. We need to rewire the reward cycle so the brain recognizes that effort precedes reward.
Okay, how?
When you feel that inertia, you commit to a ridiculously small, aligned action. We call this the micro-commitment strategy.
Micro-commitment.
Don't commit to the entire 90-minute deep work block. Commit to sitting down and opening the required software. That's it.
Don't commit to running 5 miles.
Commit to simply tying your running shoes and stepping outside the door.
I can do that.
The power of this loop is that the action breaks inertia. Once you start, the brain's internal consistency bias kicks in. The micro-win shifts your state from avoidance to momentum.
And your emotions catch up to your actions surprisingly fast.
They do. And this builds concrete evidence that you can be trusted even on the days you feel completely depleted.
Okay, but we have to talk about step C, the friction. The avoidance paradox.
Yeah.
This is the deep psychological trap.
Yes.
Avoidance scrolling, delaying, comfort eating. It feels like genuine relief in the moment. It's a powerful short-term reward.
It is.
But that relief is immediately followed by crushing guilt, regret, and compounded anxiety down the road because now the task is larger and the deadline is closer.
Right.
How do we break that deep-seated psychological loop where the brain seeks immediate comfort, even though we logically know it leads to long-term pain?
The paradox exists because the brain will always prioritize the immediate removal of discomfort, which is the task over the future reward of completion.
So it's wired for the short-term fix.
The key is realizing that you think you are seeking comfort, but you are just creating future pain. Step D, the unlock. The quiet decision to upgrade relies on replacement, not avoidance.
Replacement, not just stopping.
Try harder to stop a bad habit is just an unsustainable willpower drain. Instead, you immediately replace the time or habit with something that fills you and aligns with your identity.
Okay, give me a real-world example.
When you feel the urge to scroll through social media due to stress, don't just put the phone down and stare at the wall. That creates an energy vacuum.
Right.
Instead, immediately swap the phone time for 5 minutes of intentional reading or a short walk to grab some water.
So you fill the space.
You fill the space with something better. Every single time you choose an aligned action over avoidance, you are casting a vote for your desired identity.
That's powerful.
This process is not dramatic. It's a quiet, powerful daily decision that, over time, makes discipline the default setting. You are strengthening your internal trust muscle, and that follow-through becomes unstoppable.
That internal trust is essential, but we are all hardwired to crave instant gratification, the quick dopamine hit of distraction.
We are.
If we're replacing avoidance with action, we need to ensure our brain registers these small actions as genuine rewards.
Yeah.
How do we flip that reward system to crave growth instead of comfort?
Step A, the insight. The crave for small wins. The brain repeats what it is rewarded for. It's that simple.
Okay.
If you consistently reward yourself with escape, distraction, comfort, fast food, when you're stressed, you are literally training your mind to seek escape.
So you're building a habit of running away.
You are. We have to intentionally retrain the mind to crave growth and to make progress feel significantly better than escape. We need to condition ourselves to seek the steady, long-term satisfaction of discipline.
But a neurological process, then.
It's absolutely a neurological process. The brain needs evidence that the effort was worth it. If the only reward you're pursuing is some massive outcome that's months away, the journey just feels like an endless sacrifice.
So how do we engineer that short-term, daily reward without relying on external praise or some major accomplishment?
Step B, the system application. Small win stacking. You have to define small, achievable, and clearly measurable tasks that are tied directly to your core values.
Making them practical and immediate.
Exactly. Finish your morning alignment routine. That's a win. Drinking your prescribed water intake. That's a win.
Saying no to a request that would drain your focus time.
That's a massive win. These are moments where you follow through on a promise to yourself.
Okay.
When you stack these micro victories, these proof points, your confidence becomes structural. It becomes based on internal evidence, not fleeting external validation.
So you're not lowering your standards.
Not at all. You are creating rapid, reinforcing feedback loops. Every completion gives you a genuine shot of energy and satisfaction, reinforcing the belief that showing up generates momentum. You start building a reward system centered on integrity and growth.
But let's challenge that with step C, the friction, a failure to register success. I see this constantly in high-achieving environments.
All the time.
People finish a massive presentation or achieve a tough goal, and they immediately just jump to the next thing without pausing.
No celebration, no reflection.
None. The brain only registers the pressure, the checklist completion, and the speed, not the reward or the fulfillment. We move too fast, which leads to this chronic frustration and burnout because the brain only feels the stress of the chase.
It never feels the win.
So how do we institutionalize self-recognition without sliding into, self-indulgence or just self-congratulation?
That speed is the enemy of sustainability. You are right. Simply completing the task isn't enough. You must register the feeling of success.
The feeling.
The unlock is step D, the unlock. The daily progress record. This is extremely simple and non-invasive.
Okay.
Keep a brief, dedicated record, maybe a small section in your journal, or a simple app list of your small wins each day.
And this isn't a productivity tracker?
No, it is not a productivity tracker aimed at measuring output. It is a proof record aimed at measuring integrity.
Proof of integrity.
Write down things like, finish the 30-minute focused writing block, manage the difficult client call calmly, prepared a healthy dinner despite being tired,
The little things.
By pausing for just 1 minute to give intentional attention to the positive, you signal to your brain, this behavior is valuable, this felt good, and we should seek it again.
So that brief moment of reflection is what trains the mind.
It trains your mind to crave progress over escape. It shifts your reward system from the fleeting comfort of avoidance to the deep satisfaction of keeping a promise to yourself. This proof record is the necessary stabilizing mechanism that prevents the burnout that comes from only seeing the gap, never the gain.
Okay. We've established the alignment, we've built the sustainability, protected our mental bandwidth, reinforced momentum, and retrained the internal feedback loop. The system is built, the vehicle's running. But now, we hit the final, inevitable psychological wall. The lag time.
The dip.
The dip. We are doing everything right, following the protocol, but the massive, life-altering result, the huge career shift, the radical body change, it isn't showing up yet. What happens when the system just feels slow?
This is where we need to introduce the final concept, consistency over urgency. This is the final, non-negotiable component of any leveraged architecture.
Okay.
You must commit to staying with the system even when the results feel too slow, too small, or even invisible. You have to embrace that dip.
So slow results are not a sign of failure.
Not at all. They are the sign that the process is working beneath the surface, building the structural, non-visible components, resilience, discipline, mental toughness, skill mastery.
The things you can't measure on a spreadsheet.
Right. These are the components that take months or years to solidify. The world rewards consistency, not intensity.
Right.
If you only look for instant linear feedback, you will quit right when the cumulative effect is about to hit critical mass.
I think we need to elaborate on that dip moment. It's when you feel like you've invested 90% of the effort and you only have 10% of the results.
Yes.
That is when the identity gap screams the loudest, saying, see, this isn't working for you.
Absolutely. The temptation to stop is highest right before the breakthrough because that nonlinear growth feels like a stagnation period.
Feels like you're stuck.
Progress is quiet. It's like watering a giant redwood tree. You can't see the roots growing and strengthening every day, but that hidden growth is what allows it to eventually withstand a hurricane.
Wow.
If you stop now, you skip the growth that makes the results sustainable. Your system isn't designed for speed, it's designed for strength.
The ability to keep showing up without external applause.
Or internal emotional motivation. You don't rise to the level of your sudden dreams, you fall to the level of your repeatable system.
That is the ultimate synthesis. Your system is your real future in motion. We are obsessed with immediate speed, but true leveraged success requires strength. The ability to keep going when the external metrics are flat.
Yes.
When you commit to fixing what you repeat, you stop blaming luck and start taking ownership of your trajectory.
And the profound part is that the internal payoff hits first. Your life will begin to feel significantly different even before the external results appear.
How so?
You'll feel calmer because you've protected your bandwidth. You'll feel more in control because you're acting from integrity. You stop doubting yourself every time things get difficult because you've built a massive internal library of proof points.
That foundational stability.
That is the true measure of a successful system upgrade.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, the ambitious listener? This is not about striving for some unsustainable perfection.
Not at all.
It's about maintaining relentless, leveraged consistency. It's about letting your structure and your system carry you across the finish line long after your initial motivation has left the building.
That's the difference between temporary excitement and permanent leverage.
We started by diagnosing the failure point, the identity gap, that psychological tax of having habits that conflict with your aspirations. We moved through a 5-part system upgrade. We addressed action alignment, making sure every micro move counts toward the desired identity, focusing on time and energy ROI.
We established the need for emotional alignment over the punishment trap, using anchors to make the process feel like self-respect, not a chore.
Then we prioritized mental bandwidth protection by designing our day to automate trivial decisions, which gives us freedom to structure.
We committed to the action-first loop, bypassing emotional resistance using those micro-commitments.
And finally, we closed the feedback loop by leveraging small win stacking and the daily progress record to retrain the brain to crave growth over escape.
And if there is one final provocative thought to take with you today, let it be this. Your daily habits are the most honest, transparent measure of who you are inevitably becoming.
Wow.
Stop asking how to reach the desired outcome and start asking, what precise behaviors am I repeating every single day? Because that repetition, that quiet, consistent action, speaks louder and builds more powerfully than any goal you could ever declare.
That repetition is your future.
Brick by intentional brick.
Audit your current daily proof points, find your strongest anchors, and implement one small system upgrade today to protect your mental bandwidth tomorrow. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.